Hey everyone, it's RiseCool007 and we're back with another video. So today I'm going to be discussing the new PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. So first of all, this is a huge weight on my shoulders. So let's just get on with it. So first off, I'm going to start with the PS5. Now the PS5 is made by Sony, which also made...
Alright, maybe just a little.
So listen, all you singers from here to Beijing, you better crash the box and get ready to clean.
Now the PS5 has 4K graphics with 8K capabilities. This means whatever game you're playing is gonna look really good. Probably the best it's ever looked before. Although it's not always about the resolution. The frames per second is what truly makes it look real. PS5 can support 120 frames per second, which is pretty freaking good. And it can support 120 Hz as well. Now Sony has given the people two options for the PS5. They can either choose a PS5 that is all digital or a PS5 that has a disk drive. Although I'll get back to that in a second. It has one USB-C, 3 USB-As, an Ethernet, an HDMI, and a power outlet ports all on the PS5, all just around it. Now back to the versions that you can buy. The max space on both PS5s is 825 gigabytes, which in itself is more than enough of what you need, although it does not have expandable memory. I feel that to be a huge downfall of the PS5, at least so far. But moving away from the PS5 onto the Xbox Series X. This new Xbox basically has the same specs as the PS5, with some better things or some worse things here and there. The Xbox has 4K graphics as well, with 8K capabilities. It also has 120 frames per second with two versions of it as well for people to buy. Two choices are, of course, the Xbox Series X and the Series S. Now the X has some pretty big advantages over the S. The X has 1 terabyte of space with expandable memory, 12 teraflops of processing power. The S has 512 gigabytes and expandable memory as well, 4 teraflops of processing power, 1440p resolution, which still isn't that good, but it has capabilities of going to 8K with just a good HDMI cable, which is pretty cool. And of course, the S has no disk drive, it's all digital. Both Xboxes have 3 USB-A, an HDMI, Ethernet, expandable memory ports, and a power port. Now you may be asking, what's better? Now that's where it gets a little tricky, but I'll try to stay as bias-free as possible. The main differences I see between the PS5 and Xboxes are the CPU, GPU, storage, controllers, and I guess prices. So the CPU and GPU have slight differences between the two consoles, but it's actually leading into Xbox territory that the Xbox has a better CPU, GPU than the PS5. Although the expandable storage is what I see a big difference between the two. If you play a lot of games that take up a huge amount of space and you fill up your Xbox or console or whatever super fast with the games you play, it'd probably be better to get the Xbox with the expandable memory, although that depends on what games you play. There's rumors that the PS5 will eventually have expandable memory in the future, but those are literally just rumors. Of course, you could always just connect a hard drive or disk to the PS5 through a USB port, I think. I don't really know. But besides the specs, there are brand new controllers. Well, sort of. PlayStation has made a brand new controller for the PS5 with a new touchpad, shorter trigger buttons, and just a wider and bigger controller in general. It also kind of lights up, which is pretty cool. With Xbox, they kind of just went with what works, and they just added some new grips around it and a new share button that just goes right there. That's it. So here's the prices. The PS5 digital is $399, and the disc version of the PS5 is $499. The Xbox Series X is $499, and the Series S without the disc is $299. The Xbox and PS5 have the top of the price spectrum for consoles, but the Xbox has the lowest spectrum of prices as well. And even though that console is at the lowest price, it's still really good because it has the capability to go up to 8K. Plus, it also has expandable memory. So for that $299 price, it's not half bad. Now, past off what people actually care about, this is something that maybe most people really wouldn't care about, depending on what you want to buy. Both PS5s are about 16 inches tall. That's massive. That's over a foot tall. But like I said, that's not really people's worries. The Xbox Series X is just under a foot at a little over 11.5 inches, which, don't get me wrong, is still pretty big, but compared to the PS5, it's a lot smaller. So the Series S is only 10 inches tall, but I see people taking the Series S and putting it on its side because it's only 2.5 inches tall that way. Now the big question, which next-gen console is better? And that's a tough question. For me, I haven't gotten to try out either of the consoles, and I'll probably end up making a decision without trying them at all. But this is where it gets really difficult. I think just from the specs, just looking at the specs, the Xbox Series X is better. But that's just from the specs. If you take the games and exclusives, all the games you want to play, the PS5 is the better console. Like I said, this is where it gets really hard. But I feel you should choose the console that you want to play that has the games that you want to play on it. That's it. It's as simple as that. Buy the console for which games you want to play, because they are so close in specs that they are literally almost the same thing. Now, controller-wise, I feel the PS5 has the better controller just based on looks. I have no idea how the controller feels or what it does or whatever, but those lights are pretty sick. Whereas the Xbox controller just went for what is their normal, basically. So, all in all, buy the console you want. Don't let me tell you which one to buy. I just looked at these facts and wrote a few down. I don't even know what a teraflop is or what a CPU and GPU do. So anyways, I hope you guys have a nice rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Peace.